Welcome to Exploring Possibilities. I'm your host, Cheryl Sitz. Since 2012, Mario Rosales of Tech Life Balance and I have been airing inspiring, insightful conversations with all kinds of change agents who are raising the vibration on our planet. It's the intention of our show to explore possibilities and shift perspectives in holistic, spiritual ways. You'll hear how various industry experts discover and share their deepest passions to make a bigger difference in the world. You can subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Play. And do me a favor, please come back and rate the show so that new people can find us. We'll introduce our next guest in just a moment.
Have you ever gone to a social media seminar and you have the online experts telling you, get a blog, get a website, get on social media, all this other stuff? By the time you're done with that seminar, that online expert is very good at frying your brain. And the funny part is, you come back home, you get in front of the computer, and you're lost. Hi, I am Mario with Tech Life Balance. I see this all the time. You spend so much money and still don't know what is going on with your online presence. And you probably don't need all of that. Let me go ahead and translate Geek to English for you and show you what you really need, because you don't need it all. You probably only need a few components. You have a great message out there, and I would like to hear it, and I definitely want to help you put it out there. I am Mario Rosales with TechLifeBalance.net. I produce this podcast because I love distributing messages. Let me help you distribute your message.
Hi, it's your host, Cheryl Sitz. And when I'm not doing this podcast, I enjoy offering live or remote coaching sessions to help my clients explore their possibilities. Maybe you have a physical pain and you've never really gotten to the emotional root cause. Wouldn't it be nice to be free of that? We can do that together. We can also explore what it is you really want or what's really holding you back and get rid of that too. There's lots we can do together. Contact me, CherylSitz.com. Now on with the show. Hopefully you've had a chance to check out our new digital magazine. Just came out April 1st. You can find that at journeyofpossibilities.com. And if you like it, subscribe. You'll get a new free issue every 3 months right there in your inbox. And it's packed full of great tips for how to live a more holistic spiritual life. And now on to today's show. Mark Dr. Dream Peebler is a sacred economic entrepreneur, humanitarian, holistic healing practitioner, and international speaker. For over 20 years, he's guided, mentored, and empowered others to reach and sustain their full potential, working with students, organizations, and corporations. Dr. Dream has assisted thousands of incredible beings in their journeys of transformation. Since January 2010, Dr. Dream has traveled to well over 175 cities and facilitated more than 500 events. You can find out where he's heading next on his website, touroflove.com. And we are getting him fresh off of a pretty unique opportunity to sit with Chopra and his board of directors. So I want to hear all about that and all about this endless tour of love you've got going on. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, and you're bringing some of that Chopra energy in and just, wow, what an incredible tour you're on. If you wouldn't mind, I'd love to step back and kind of ask what I would imagine most people would like to know that aren't familiar with your work. How did you get into this to take this to the level that you're at now? What got you started?
As all of our stories are, it's really interesting to look back and see the progression. For me, I was born and raised in Omaha, Nebraska, Reformed Jewish family, even had a bar mitzvah in Omaha. From the earliest time I can remember, I always wanted to help people. I always wanted to have that be my role. But I was raised in a family that was entrepreneurial, and so I was groomed and programmed to be an incredible salesperson. And I was the one they said, oh, you can sell ice to Eskimos, which early on sounded good. And then you start to think about it. It's like, wait a sec, aren't we being sold too much stuff we don't need anyway? So I'm not sure that's a great compliment. But so in my own life, in my own healing process, I found a number of tools and modalities that assisted me in my own evolution. I got to a point where I thought, if all this works for me, it'll work for anybody. I mean, I've got a short attention span. I'm not very structured. And so I became a holistic healing practitioner using the tools and modalities that had worked for me, that I was either certified in, classically trained in, or self-trained in, or somewhere in the middle of all that. Then officially in January of 2000, So I started doing all this. I went to Burning Man up in Nevada one year, and it's an amazing event and very expansive. And I went with the intention of identifying how I can live within my life purpose and my mission. And what came to me that week was my program, Dream the Biggest Dream. And I went out on the speaker circuit right away, and people started calling me Dr. Dream. And so that's how that was adopted. And then in January 2010, we started the Tour of Love. And last night for Deepak Chopra and his foundation board of directors, I did my 510th group energetic experience.
That's just so amazing. And I have to just step back for a minute and ask you, so you came out of Omaha, Nebraska, and you were coming into this healing path. Was there a lot of that going on there, or were you kind of apart from the crowd? Did you relocate to get deeper into this? How did that part work for you?
Yeah, I left Omaha when I was 15 and moved out to California, spent my last 2 years of high school at Laguna Beach High School. And it was just during that time that I was starting to kind of learn and expand. I went to Arizona State University, again, a little more expansion. But I mean, when I was 12 years old, I went to Machu Picchu, had a very profound energetic experience there. And I've been traveling to sacred sites ever since then. So I've been drawn, sort of naturally into all of this. But what I gave up was a web development company based in Sedona, Arizona, with satellite offices in New York City and Victoria, BC. And then I had a couple hundred clients, and I gave all that up to be full-time on the Tour of Love.
That's fabulous. I love what you said about selling people stuff we don't really need anyway. I can totally relate to that. So, wow, Chopra, what was that like?
Well, it was interesting because a week ago, or a little over a week ago, maybe 8 days ago, I met with a family friend. Man was a very good friend of my father's. And I was telling him about what we're doing. He's involved in a lot of different things. And the week before, we had done a Tibetan bowl experience for an organization out here called Chambers Center for Wellbeing. It's part of Atlantic Health Services, so it's part of a hospital. So it was our first event that we did in any environment like that. And Ray Chambers was the one that set up the endowment to get that center going. So I met with him the following week, which was last week. And he said to me, well, I'm on the board of the Deepak Chopra Foundation, and would you like to bring your bowls and do an experience for us at a dinner before the board meeting that Ray was hosting? And so, of course, my favorite mantra in life is yes. I'm saying yes to so much in reality, and this was just another one. And it came together, and it was amazing. Deepak was very gracious last evening. He loved what we did. He came up to us afterwards and invited us to do something at his center in Southern California for several hundred people. And so I posted on Facebook this morning. I said, well, add it to the list. We're now Deepak approved.
How awesome. And it is that way. That is the way it works, right? The doors just continue to open. Bigger doors show up. You say yes, walk through, another big door opens, and we just get to keep spreading this beautiful vibration of love and dreams. And tell me a little about why you feel like you're guided to do what you do. I've had different answers from different people who work with sound and bowls and about raising the vibration of the planet, or about, different things, healing people physically. What is it for you?
Well, I'm embodied here as this person, Mark Peebler, Dr. Dream, to be a beacon of love. And I'm to share that wherever I go. And so it's about raising the frequency. We do it when we're at a dinner party. We do it when we're with the bowls. I do keynote talks for different conferences and organizations, and I do it in that when we don't even have a bowl out. It's just a focused attention on an intention, and I think that once any of us identify the why of our existence, the next step comes very naturally, and it's inspired action. And so I wish I could say I planned this whole thing out that's going on with us, but but we just keep showing up. We're in a new city every 1 to 3 days. We do 3 to 5 events a week. Even in New York the other night, we did an event in this townhouse that I'm in right now, and it's on the Upper East Side. It's 5 stories, and the first floor is a showroom of designer shoes that this woman makes and handbags. And then we did the experience on the second floor. There was a prince from Yugoslavia. Prince Dmitry of Yugoslavia was here. A princess was here. I mean, we never know. And then soon we'll find ourselves in Asheville and Charlotte and Dallas and Austin and El Paso and we go everywhere. We kind of consider ourselves energetic chameleons, and I think it's that we love humanity and the collective so much that we fit in any environment. Last night in this very exclusive restaurant with just 35 people, including the owner of Walmart and all of this. And we fit in as well as we do when we're passing through Lubbock, Texas, or Amarillo, or Omaha, or Detroit, St. Louis, Oklahoma. I mean, this is the fun of what we get to do, is that everywhere we go, we're attracting like energy. Everywhere we go, the beacon of love that we are is attracting people that want more of that in their life or that are already reflecting that. And I mean, I can barely go a week without being brought to tears by how beautiful this experience is and how awesome it is to be here and to be human right now at this time for what's happening in humanity.
I fully agree with that. I'm sure you are approached by people in these presentations that you do and these events that you do that are themselves stepping more deeply into their calling and their passion or awakening to their purpose in a new way. What is something that you find yourself repeating to people that could help maybe listeners that are in that place today to step deeper into what they're here to do?
Excellent. Well, I want you to know that one of the things I do in every event that we do to thousands of people every year, I offer no charge counseling. It's over the phone, 15 to 27-minute phone calls, and people can get unlimited no charge counseling if they do the assignment that's given to them after the phone call. I then also have a 21-day program called 21 Days to Change the Conscious Creation Program. If they pick it up online for $4.50, a nominal fee, I'll throw in 4 phone calls to support the person while they go through this really amazing life-changing program. So it costs $4.50 and you get 4 phone calls with me. We also let people know that when the stuff hits the fan in their life, you type Dr. Dream into Google, my cell phone number comes up, and that anyone can call me and that will help them. And this is what we do. So when you're asking me what are common themes, I mean, I do lots of phone calls with lots and lots of people. And the most common theme really has to do with how to expand into their life, how to expand into the life that they know they came here to lead, but maybe they don't know what it's all about yet or how to go about it. That's always part of it. Our offering that we do city to city, we call it inspiring and motivational, paradigm busting, and sound healing. We don't even lead with the sound healing because if people come to our events we do our events with 33 to 333 Tibetan healing bowls. I don't want them to think they're coming to a sound bath or a concert. We take people into the inner journey, and it's in that experience that they clear things right there on the spot. And so we don't have people laying down. We're the ones that rent chairs and bring them into yoga centers. It's not the lay down, surf the ethers kind of experience. And so we get some of the big stuff like help me find out the why of my existence so I can do what I'm here to do. And then like recently I had 3 calls that all had to do with how to energetically be at the highest level with your in-laws. And so I got to believe that there was something in the last week energetically with the planets that had something to do with communication and in-laws. So we never know what's going to happen, but it's beautiful because it's all about expansion. It's all about identifying the life that we want to lead and then figuring out how to place that order with source so we can get around to living it. Most of us have a dream for our lives, but it just continues to be just out of reach to us. And we think that it's always going to be that way. And quite honestly, it's not, and it doesn't need to be. And what I do is assist people by being a catalyst for them to really jump into a more expansive life, and one that has grace and ease, and one where you wake up in the morning and you are so freaking excited about being here for another day. You can't wait to get out of bed.
That's so cool. Who doesn't need that? I'm just sitting here listening to what all you offer and the amazingly affordable prices that you offer it at. And I wonder how you're not on the phone 24/7. Do you have like a backlog with those prices and all that to offer?
No, because here's the thing. The people that are drawn to us to do this, they're really serious. And so we weed out people right away. I mean, you can't pay me to do counseling for you. The only way you can do it is to fit into my program of, it's a 15-minute appointment, but I block a half hour. So I tell people you have 27 minutes. And to fit into that and then do the assignment. I have people that would love to pay me $100 an hour just to talk to me and not do any assignments. I'm not interested in that. I don't provide feel good experiences. I think after you have an experience with me, you will feel good. But you know what? Going through the process may be uncomfortable, and it weeds people out. I get people that do one phone call with me and then they don't do the assignment. Everybody wants things easier, and if I could tap them on the forehead and sprinkle some Dr. Dream fairy dust on them, they would just be happy with that. The bottom line is life's not that way, and you've got to be an active participant. And so energetically, I think I weed out people that are not willing to be an active participant. It's like what I do is on such a deep level. So we've never gotten overloaded, and I believe that Source won't let it happen. But we have a plan in place, for when we'll be doing stadiums in the next 6 months. We're negotiating right now with a rock and roll band, actually, to open up some of their shows. And so we never know where everything's going to take us. We may one day I think of us as being relatively unknown, although we do have a following right now. But in comparison to what it will be. So at that point, we've got a plan with a trunk of numbers that rotates, and so people can call in, and we know that the stuff's going to continue to hit the fan for people. It's going to get more and more chaotic as we go through the ascension process. And the reason is that we've got to tear down. There's got to be a crumbling and a collapse of the paradigms and the dynamics that have been set up within the matrix that don't address anything from the true nature of our reality. They're based on greed, and they're based on all this other stuff that's not who we really are. And the ascension process is that all that's going to come crumbling down. Kudos to President Trump for spearheading that.
Yes.
By waking everyone the heck up, allowing us to see at times what a farce it is, and that it's completely orchestrated in the back rooms. And now maybe I don't vote and I won't vote. To me, voting would be like taking an alcoholic out to the local bar for a drink. I'm not enabling behavior that is not right. It needs to crumble. If I vote and everyone else continues to vote, we're going to stretch out the collapse of a system that doesn't work. And I think we saw more than any other election so far in this last election, how this system does not work, and it doesn't represent the people. It still represents the elite and the shadow government. And I think Trump's going to get in there and he's wacky enough to rattle the cabal and the shadow government and everything. So, and then, I mean, my umbrella company is called It's All Good. I mean, if we're going to judge something, it's used to be the good, the bad, and the ugly. And now it's like, no, it's all good. Divine perfection in how it's all playing out. And I came here not for an apocalyptic ending. I came here for the ascension process. So maybe all these people that see the apocalypse coming or see how bad everything looks, maybe there's going to be a bifurcation, a split. And those of us that are more than 50% in service to the collective, those of us that are positive and heart-based and love-based, go off in a different fork at the road. And those of us that see the downside to everything and are service to self only, they go off in another direction to continue having their experience.
I really feel the same thing. I feel the same thing is coming, something like that. Or definitely, I notice that they are less and less a part of my reality. It seems like for many of us, we're just creating another reality that runs parallel to this one, where those things aren't such an issue for us because we're not into all that anyway. Do you see that too?
Yeah, completely. And so here's how it works for us, going back to your question in a kind of roundabout way. This is really what I'm here for. I'm here to go city to city. I mean, someone the other day called us the galactic Johnny Appleseed of our time. And I was like, well, that's really highly appropriate. We go city to city. We do events for 6 people and up to 3,000 people. We have an event for several thousand people coming up May 20th in Southern California. I mean, this is what we do. And people pick up bowls in every city. You know, our whole arrangement with the bowls, we're out there paradigm busting. We're supporting 1,500 bowl makers in 2 villages in Nepal in rebuilding their lives from the April 25th, 2015 earthquake. It's still incredibly challenging over there. And what they do is they send me $100,000 in wholesale bowls, and I don't pay up front for it. And what I do then is I send $7,000 a month, a minimum of $7,000 a month to the 2 villages in Nepal. And so everything, I mean, how many dreams have been squashed in people's minds because they're waiting the if then, well, if this happens, then I'll do that. Or you have to have money to make money, so I can't make my dream come true. And it's like, wake up, people. You know, your belief systems are guiding everything. So if you believe you have to have money to make money, well, you better have some money if you want to make some money.
Yeah.
But I don't believe that. I believe that, I mean, once I completely gave myself to Source, and I call myself a front man for Source, but once I completely dedicated myself to being in service to the collective, I decided at that moment there was no reason to struggle anymore because God, Source, the universe, would not want me to struggle. I'm simply an extension of that energy doing what that energy wants done here. Why would I struggle? And ever since then, that cleared out whatever lingering blocks there were to abundance. And now I tell people I'm wildly abundant. I've leveraged what's natural, which is abundance. We're naturally abundant if we allow it. And so I leverage everything and see how much I can expand it. And so with abundance, we've made it into wildly abundant.
And there's so many different interpretations for what that abundance means and how to get there. And it's really interesting to listen to those conversations. And yet I've noticed that your fees are very low. You travel all over the place. Your audiences are bigger and bigger. You are staying in a very nice accommodations and having shows for all different kinds of people. So you really are walking the talk. How do you think that can open for people that are sitting there saying, I don't know how to do that?
I think what the world needs is for those of us that are making very clear, very conscious, present in the moment choices, we need to stand up and share what the results of that are. I mean, our whole event, 2.5 hours, is paradigm busting. We talk about the trust paradigm, the love paradigm, the giving paradigm, the, giving and giving and giving all that you have to share and not expecting anything in return. And people need to hear, that there are people doing this and it's working for them. Yes. Like I'm receiving more in return. We don't charge. I only charge for in-person sessions. We do 1.5 to 3.5 hour sessions in person on people. And we charge for that. And other than that, we ask for, the donation of $25 to come to one of our events. But then I give my cell phone number. People can call me at 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning. I give the 21-day program. Literally, if you come to the event, we give you the 21-day program. For the radio show today, we're just saying, pay the $450 and I'll give you the 4 phone calls. But at a regular event, we literally give all that away. We give the notes for the event away. So people have all the research that I've done. Think about it. If we all lived in a world where everyone gave everything that they have abundance of, gave freely of the gifts that they have to share, this world would be incredible. But even more to the point, because we don't live in a world where people are doing that, it's super important for people to hear that I live that way, that that's the way I weave my way through this reality. Nobody takes advantage of me. How can they? I'm already giving it away. And what happens? I receive more than I've ever received. And I've been a very successful entrepreneurial businessman in sales and marketing for years. And now, as a frontman for Source, I'm receiving so much more than I ever could have thought of or planned on. And these are the new paradigms. With ascension comes new paradigms. We've got to let go of the old stuff and move into, what's real. And that's the thing about our financial system, about our government and everything else. It's all got to be redone based on, where we're headed. And the foundation of all these energies has to change.
I agree with you 100%. I'm intrigued by something. When I introduced you, I said that you go into corporations, and many of the things that you're saying, many corporations have not caught up with the new way of doing things yet. So how does that work for you going into these corporations? Do they not wonder when you say, give it all away, and what you give away, you get back? That's not exactly the corporate model that we're used to.
We're not doing corporations like we used to. When I first started out, I had a web development company and 200 clients all over the world. And so they couldn't get away from us, kind of putting our belief system out there. I'm looking to get back into doing inspirational and motivational offerings for corporations. And again, we just did this as part of a hospital chain. That was last week. And so we're expanding a little more into that. It started to get a little strange, and I knew I had to get out of it, because as I was pitching, say, $80,000 to $100,000 contract, I would say to my clients, we really need to have a discussion about how you're blocking your abundance. And they look at me like, what are you talking about? I said, well, if you weren't blocking your abundance, you wouldn't really need to hire me. And if we're going to spend $80,000 to $100,000, I really need you to see how you're blocking the energy. Mm-hmm. And because I said, otherwise, let's just get $80,000 and set it here on the table, and we'll just have a little fire and we'll burn it, because that's what it's going to do for you. And again, there's people out there, they just want to pay for stuff and have that be the exchange, and they don't want to be any more active than that. And that stopped working for me. And I technically gave up my, in a sense, may have given up my business a little soon. I lost my $1 million home, and my father was transitioning in California. And so we moved to California and blah, blah, blah. But it's all divine. It's all in divine perfection. I said before, when we stop judging things as the good, the bad, and the ugly, and for me, it's all good. You realize that all of that, losing the $1 million home, is what everything that's happened to each of us has gotten us to the place that we're at. And hopefully we're happy with the place we're at. I'm ecstatically happy with who I am, what I'm doing, and how I live my life. So everything that I experienced, all the stuff we called the good, the bad, and the ugly, all the stuff that if I could turn back time, I wouldn't want to go through it again. But I know I needed to go through it at least the time that I did to become who I've become. And so it really takes the edge off of having resentment and regrets about our lives when we see the big picture, that it's all played into us becoming who we came here to be.
Right. Yes, I agree. I just wondered if you had any insights in how you see. I do believe that there is massive shifting going on, and with corporations, many of them having a large role in our lives, those of us that still may have a role in corporate America, if you see that shift coming through the people that are in it changing, or if you see that shift coming in some way through the corporate structures, how you see that shifting happening within the larger structures.
Well, I mean, we're seeing it all. I mean, I last night I was with a group of people whose probably average net worth of each person in that room was probably on the low end, a couple $100 million. And they are part of a foundation that is set up to change the world. And so this was, the Sam Walton's daughter and granddaughter were there last night, and they are interested in putting their energies out there in ways to shift the world. Say what you will about Walmart. I mean, we live on the road. Walmart fulfills a great need for us everywhere we go. And then to be in the same room with the top shareholder, I'm sure, in Walmart, and to hear the conversations that were going on in that room last night, and to feel the energy, and that it's all about changing the world. I mean, that I looked it up yesterday. Alice Walton is worth $40 billion. That's her net worth. And here we were with her last night, and they're all there because they're changing the world. Yeah, it's happening. And maybe we don't see it at the lower levels, but everywhere I look, I see people stepping up and making changes, and we hear about, I have a sound healing friend in Miami that is doing work with Marriott with sound healing for their employees and things. I think that it's all expanding. We never would have been invited to a place that was affiliated with a hospital even 5 years ago. And now we hear about hospitals working with sound healing, working with essential oils. And again, we see what we're focused on and everything like that. And I'm focused on people that are passionate about this life and passionate about making changes in the world that can assist us all. Yes, I couldn't be more, it's not even hopeful. I know that it's not like, oh, I hope things are moving in this direction. I know they're moving in that direction. And so, yes, two of our biggest audiences have been at an Episcopal church, so it's really opening up all over the place. And then, just people in general. And people in general are the ones that make up the ranks of the corporations and everything else. I believe we're more and more finding our lives a little bit hollow, and we're searching for deeper meaning. And these are the people in the corporations, and the people that are at the top of the corporations. $40 billion doesn't mean a lot if you're not happy with who you are and with how you're running your life. And believe me, if you've just got $40 billion and it's only about money, you're going to come up empty, just as empty as someone who doesn't know how they're going to pay their rent next month.
Right.
And so it's happening everywhere and at every socioeconomic strata of our society. And it's the fire that drives us on.
That's very encouraging to hear. And I know that some of our audience members may be more at the other end of that Walmart spectrum. They may be those that work 20 hours a week and are barely making ends meet. So I guess for them to hear that there is hope for change through that structure for a better life for them, because they may not know where to start to access some of the things that we're speaking about in their daily life.
Well, get my 21-day program. And if you can't afford $4.50, send me an email and I'll send you the link to download it for free. So that's the place to start. And yet that takes a certain dedication and commitment, because what we're talking about is breaking away from being distracted by outer reality and being too plugged into the matrix and turning inward for the inner journey. And that's where the magic is. That's where everything happens. We create our experience of reality from the inside out. And so anybody can experience abundance. And when I say abundance, it's not $40 billion net worth or anything like that. It's waking up in the morning and feeling so content with who you are and how you run your energy and what you do with your energy and your smile and the love in your heart. That's abundance. And then, to not have to worry about how you're paying bills month to month, that is certainly a part of abundance. But, I call myself wildly abundant, but we don't have savings accounts. We don't have CDs and all this stuff. But we're guided along. People continue to show up. The events are getting bigger. We're not asking for more. We're just giving more because we can. And the more that happens, it's like that loop. And I think Source says, wow, you're willing to give that much more? Well, let me make it that much better for you. Oh, you're willing to expand that much more? Well, let me do this much more. And it's beautiful. I call it placing your order with the universe. And too many times we go into the reality cafe of the universe and there's a huge menu in front of us and the waiter comes over and says, what would you like? And we say, well, just bring us life. We'll deal with it when it gets here. I mean, seriously, if I walked into a restaurant here in New York City with my partner, Stephanie, and the waiter came up and said, what would you like? And I said, well, there's two of us, bring us lunch. He'd look at us like we're crazy. So I'm saying, place your order in the restaurant. You want your salad dressing on the side, or you want this done this way, and you want this medium rare, and you want this extra crispy. Do that with reality. Look at your reality and decide exactly what you're choosing to experience. And the way that it's going to work the best is having it all fit into why you exist here, why you chose to embody here as the person you are now. We chose this from wherever it is we come from. I'm not going to address any of that, but we chose who we were to be. We chose our parents, the whole thing. So lighten up, everyone. And embrace the experience and find the silver linings in everything, even if you have to dig really deep. Everything in our lives has a silver lining. And if you're really stuck with that one, let's do a 15-minute no-charge counseling session and start shifting the energy. I had someone call me yesterday. She started my 21-day, hasn't even started it, downloaded the 21-day program. And she said, I've had 2 calls with you, Dr. Dream. I'm getting started on the 21-day program, and everything's changing for me. She said, I'm so much more positive now. I'm so much more energetically open. She said, I was in a slump, and I had prayed for someone to come into my life and offer what you offer. And here you're holding space for me so I can grow. And that's what I do. To me, there's no greater offering than to, without expecting anything in return, offer to help people. I mean, that to me is kind of the foundation of being human, although some people have kind of covered that up a lot and they're not connected with it. But to me, that's what gives it all meaning, is to be in service and to love the collective and love humanity and to love and support whoever shows up in front of us.
I'm so glad to know that every day you wake up and go to a new city and a new arena and a new theater and tell more people these messages, because it's absolutely why we're here right now. And I'm honored that you came on our show to tell our audience and anybody else we can get to listen to hear this powerful message. It's time for us all to wake up and really savor life, the riches that it holds for us. And it's not in a bank account or a job.
No, and we're writing the script. And it doesn't matter what script you wrote last year or last decade. You've never been the person that you are right now. And so we just focus on what it is. For 2 years, I've been saying I'm going to be with 333 Tibetan healing bowls in a stadium. And I said, I don't know how. And I know I'm not going to headline it, but that's where we're going to be. And now we're entering into real discussions about when we're going to do that. And I didn't seek these people out. Source connected me. I camped next to a world famous DJ at an event that I was part of and told him about my bowls. And he said, I want you to do a stadium show with us. One of the most famous rock and roll percussionists has his people have reached out to us. For 2 years, I've been saying, why hasn't he contacted me? The 333 bowls has to strike his imagination. Well, I didn't put any feelers out there. I didn't send them any information, and now they've reached out to us. We're writing the script, and I can help people have a very tangible experience of how empowered, how powerful we really are in this reality, and that changes everything. Send me your teenagers. Send, the 21-day program for a teenager, giving them a tangible experience that they're writing the script and they get to live it. That's a game changer, life changer right there.
Awesome. I could talk to you all day. Thank you for your time. I like to end my shows. Well, first off, websites again, please. Where would you like them to reach out to you for which? You've got the tour website and you've got your website. How do you want that to look?
The main website is touroflove.com. You can sign up for our newsletter. We send one a week. We never overload it. You can see where we are on our schedule. And more to the point, if you're listening to this right now and you think it would be super cool to bring Dr. Dream and the Band of Angels to your community, send me an email. Let me know what's your contact at your spiritual center, your yoga center, or wherever. We also go into people's homes. We do 3 to 5 events a week. They're not all in regular venues. We'll go into someone's home if they want to pull 10 or 12 people, something like that. We'll vibe up your whole family and your closest friends.
Wow. What an offer. What an exciting offer. I know I'm going to meet you now pretty soon because I've got all kinds of wheels turning. I can't wait to have you to our part of Texas. Well, I like to ask my guests if they have a parting thought they would like to leave listeners with. So what might yours be today?
So I think for me, it's just important for us to stay in our hearts, and we've all experienced tremendous heartache and heartbreak, and because of it, we've built little walls around parts of our heart and parts of our being. And I want you to know that I'm in all these cities. We'll do 125 events this year, and I'm the most open-hearted person. Nobody's taking advantage of me. My heart's not getting broken. We're safe, and we're safe to love each other, but most importantly, we're safe to love ourselves. And so thank you so much for having me on your show and allowing me this opportunity to connect with you and your listeners. And I most certainly look forward to getting together with you when we're back through Texas.
Would you like to be a guest on Exploring Possibilities? Drop me a note at info@journeyofpossibilities.com. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Exploring Possibilities.